Welcome back, everyone. Well, Marvel Studios and Disney Plus released episodes 1 and 2 of their new limited series, Agatha All Along. And if you've been with me for some time, then you know that I was looking forward to this one. I like the character of Agatha Harkness. I like how Kathryn Hahn plays that character. There's a lot of comic book lore to dig into with this character, first created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby as a Halloween special for the Fantastic Four. So yeah, I had high hopes. That is until the marketing for the show started rolling out over the past couple of weeks. And in case you missed it, let's take a quick look back at Disney's advertising strategy.
This is bad.
So I'm told, I've seen the first episode, but Agatha is the gayest Marvel project yet. Do you agree?
It better be, because that's what I signed up for. I think it is.
The chemistry between you and Kathryn in the first episode, I describe it as Law and Order meets Basic Instinct meets Bound.
Go on. You're speaking my language. All of that. Yes. More. Yeah, 100%. 100%.
It get gayer and gayer as each episode goes.
Yes, darling, but I can't tell you how. I can't tell you anything, but yes, it will be a gay explosion by the end of it.
So long, gay boys!
It's been described as the gayest Marvel project ever. Do you agree?
I mean, I think it's pretty, well, what is the most exciting about it is that that's not exactly what it's about.
No,
it's so
right.
Normalized, but yeah, I definitely think it is.
You gonna need me this week?
Maybe Friday. Now where are the gays? Over here. No, the really cartoony gays. Yoo-hoo! There you are. We're gonna need you guys all week.
It was also called the best Marvel television production ever made. But is it really, and do you really want to actually call it that? Is that the low bar that we're looking to clear now? The best of Marvel TV? Your competition is WandaVision, The Falcon and Winter Soldier, Loki seasons 1 and 2, Hawkeye, Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, Secret Invasion, and Echo. Are any of these shows considered great or even really good? Saying that you've made the greatest ever Marvel TV show is like saying you're the smartest kid on the short bus. It's not something you should flaunt. But let's put all of that aside and get to the meat of the matter, the actual show. Like I said, they premiered 2 episodes, so we'll kind of just put them all together. But the first episode, episode 1, was maybe the most boring 40 minutes of television I've seen in a long time. Probably since The Acolyte, really. I mean, I get it. They were trying to emulate the whole television show within a television show motif that WandaVision did so well. And by the way, WandaVision, the first Marvel TV show, is probably still the best Marvel TV show. Now, unfortunately, the police procedural format that they went with fell very flat this time, despite Kathryn Hahn's best efforts.
Eat my ass, Chief.
It took a minute for me to get past her James Cagney tough guy impression she was going for, but again, I get it. You gotta make it look like she's acting because it's a show within a show, but then when you think about it, she's not acting. She's under a spell and thinks everything is real, so why do we do the overacting? Why do we do that tough guy persona? Yeah, I guess the director thought it would be a good idea, maybe it'd be a different look, maybe it would give a hint to the audience. I don't know. It came off weird. And the opening got pretty dark for a Disney Plus show, I'll give him that. A dead body in the woods. It's supposed to be Wanda with a crushed head, but Disney went full out with the rigor mortis and the rolling of the body, and I didn't think that would make it into a Marvel TV show for kids, but there you go. But again, this show is going to show us a lot of things that I didn't think would make it into a Marvel TV show for kids. Not that any of that made the show more engaging or entertaining. It didn't. Now, after the crime scene, we get Aubrey Plaza's Rio, an FBI agent who, for some reason, Agatha hates, never explained why. Now, everyone but me who was looking forward to the show pointed towards Aubrey Plaza as one of the reasons why. Now, I have to confess, I know she's an actress, but I never watched anything with her. Not a show, a movie, a couple of YouTube clips where she talks dirty to a talk show host, but I guess that's her thing. I mean, the way people talk about her, you would think that she's this insanely great actor. So I'm sorry to break it to you, Aubrey fans. She's just okay. She's not terrible. Just okay. She had the same tone of voice and facial expressions no matter what line she was delivering throughout the first 2 episodes. Again, boring, unengaging, definitely did not meet the level of hype she got for this role. But as boring and as predictable as this opening episode was, what made this show terrible was the inclusion of sexual innuendo between Aubrey Plaza's character Rio and Agatha. It just seemed so forced and so high schoolish, and it did not find the chord it was looking to strike. It added nothing to the plot or the narrative. It was just there to say, hey look, sexual tension between women. There's no setup, there's no context, it's just there. And when it's just there, then it's activist writing. If it's got no meaning, then it's just activist writing. And the rest of the episode is just a nostalgia whip that keeps lashing you with the WandaVision and Doctor Strange callbacks. We get another scene with Agatha and Rio sharing a pizza and a beer. Again, more sexual innuendo. And then the intro of our next major character, a teenager who breaks into Agatha's house and tries to rob her, but Agatha chases him, arrests him, and interrogates him. Now, during this interrogation, he starts to chant a spell, and it begins to break Agatha's delusion that she is a detective in Westview. The next time we see him is when he's tied up in Agatha's closet, because everything Agatha does is all an illusion. One that the whole town seems to be in on, by the way. It's never really explained. Westview brings her groceries, acts out parts for her to make her believe that she's a police detective. They seem to generally care about Agatha, which is strange because no one in these 3 years has come to tell them that Wanda was not the real villain, that it was Agatha. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Agatha is responsible for enslaving an entire town. I guess she just got a mulligan on that one? I mean, no consequences or repercussions for her bad actions? Is that what Disney meant by empowerment and empowerment through storytelling? I'll let you answer those questions. I'll move on to the next scene. So next, Agatha goes to the morgue. Rio shows up again, all thirst trappy, and Agatha finally realizes who she is and begins to take off her clothes. She goes through transformations, basically every costume she wore in the WandaVision series, until she ends up buck naked in her living room. That's right, she is fully Agatha again, minus her witch powers, and her first act in full self-consciousness is to run outside naked in the middle of the day and expose herself to her neighbors, including a child. She spends an extended amount of time in front of her neighbor who just wishes she'd cover herself up, but she keeps turning to expose herself to the entire street. Again, not sure where they were going with this or what the point was, other than to give us a shot of her bare ass as she walked back to her home. I mean, don't get me wrong, nothing against Catherine Hahn. She looks great for a 52-year-old woman, but at this point, I was asking myself if this is all a huge porn setup. I mean, we already had sexy pizza delivery girl. We already had submissive cop. We had a little bit of it's getting hot in here. And now stranded naked neighbor? What's next? Yoga instructor with a bottle of baby oil? I mean, I feel like these writers spent a lot of time on Pornhub. But Agatha gets back in her house, she puts on a robe, and this is when Rio shows back up, and we discover that she's a green witch. She's actually Rio Vidal, which is a comic book character, and she wants to kill Agatha. Here is where the narrative really goes off the rails and where I really have all the problems. The two of them fight, Rio obviously kicking the crap out of Agatha because she has witch powers and Agatha doesn't. Again, this is the stupidity of the writing. Only now is Rio trying to kill Agatha, because all along it seems like she's been trying to be helpful. These swerves or character turns are not shocking, like the writers want them to be. They are nonsensical because the context behind them, the motivations, are not there. They're not established. More so, if Rio wanted to kill Agatha, why not do it at any other given time, before Agatha woke up from her illusions? Better still, Agatha convinces Rio not to kill her until she gets her powers back. That way, it'll be more satisfying. Again, what? If you want to kill someone, you don't give them a weapon to defend themselves. If you spent all this time tracking down a person, all this time invested in making something bad happen to them, all of a sudden you're not going to just say, okay, time out, you got it. Give yourself some time to figure a way out of this. It just doesn't make any sense. Here we also get the now infamous blood-licking scene. Rio slowly tastes the blood flowing from Agatha's hand. And some of you out there think that this is a sensual scene. I've seen these comments on Twitter. I gotta ask you, when did drinking another's blood become a turn-on of a sexual act? Look, I've lived a life. I'm no prude. But drinking blood is not something we should include in an acceptable sexual world, for a lot of different reasons. But again, the writers of the show seem to have a lot of repressed feelings to get out, and I imagine we're gonna see a lot more of them. Anyways, after licking her blood, Rio agrees to Agatha's terms, again, out of stupidity, I guess. She leaves. Then Agatha interrogates the captured teen in her closet. He reveals that he is the one who freed her from her mental cage by chanting that spell when they first met. Again, what? If your goal is to help her, then why not just knock on her door and help her? Why break into her house? Why run from her? Why be so elusive? That's because the writers are telling you that he's a bad guy, even though that they think you're not smart enough to figure it out. But this is the writing that we got. It's obvious he's not to be trusted. He is so poorly written of a character. He's a sycophant who claims to be powerless and inexperienced, yet, as Agatha herself points out, he broke a spell of the Scarlet Witch. On top of that, he seems to be able to manipulate and manage through whatever situation he and Agatha are in, and when Agatha asks him personal information like his name, there's obviously some sort of charm or protection that prevents Agatha from hearing what he's saying. So a teenager who is good enough to break a Scarlet Witch spell cannot identify that he has some sort of spell placed on him? Of course he does. He's just playing dumb, and everyone knows it, everyone in the audience, but Agatha doesn't know it. And as an audience member, you have figured it out already, and you think to yourself, this is stupid. So I'm wondering if these writers are from Echo, because this show is making no sense just the way that show made no sense. And again, it continues to make no sense from there. Our unnamed teenager and Agatha agree on walking the Witch's Road. In the comics, the Witch's Road is a mysterious, mystical dimension that only certain magic users and those summoned by them can enter. It is the home of the goddess of witchcraft, a cosmic entity that serves as the source of magical power for witches and warlocks who perform magic using spells and phrases, and for the descendants of mystics who have inherited their powers. The Witch's Road is also the home of Chaos, a lesser abstract being who acts as a partner to the goddess of witchcraft by helping her magic break the physical rules of reality. The Witch's Road contains various monsters, demons, and other mystical creatures influenced by the goddess's health. Now, in this show, to enter the Witch's Road, all Agatha needs is her teenager and 4 more witches to complete a special incantation, which is a song that goes on for about 5 minutes that all of them sing together. Yep, singing. A lot of singing. And not to abandon the LGBTQ message at this point, while driving, our unnamed teenager gets a phone call from his boyfriend. He sends it to voicemail. He has a couple of lines about the relationship and nothing. There's nothing to it. Again, the social message is there for no reason. It adds nothing. It's just there to say, hey, I'm a gay character. If it had something to do with the episode, the story, then great, bring it on. But this is activist writing at its zenith. Billboard that message in whenever possible. So now to the coven of DEI, because we need witches to get to the road. You have the elderly witch. They recruit her first with promises of living a more financially stable life. Okay. Next, the African-American witch. And by the way, she's also under indictment for injuring multiple people, about 800 counts, and in danger of going to jail for the rest of her life because she's already been previously bound by other witches, so she cannot access her magic. So there's a real hero for you. Can't wait to root for that one. Next is the Asian witch, who's not really a witch, but the daughter of a witch and does not believe in witchcraft. But her mother was a famous rock star witch who wrote a version of the song they will sing for 5 minutes. Also, rumor has it, her mother was lost on the Witch's Road, so the only one of them with a good incentive to do any of this is her, and she wants to find her mother, which is a ripoff of Wanda's story in the comics, because it is Wanda who walks the road and encounters the spirit of her dead mother. But okay, it is what it is. And finally, we need to get a nature witch, a green witch, who is identified by only a black heart, because of course, it is Rio, and there's sexual tension between Agatha and Rio. And since Agatha does not want to recruit the person who wants to kill her, or screw her then kill her, or kill her then screw her, really, it's a coin toss at this point. Agatha does not want Rio, so she suckers in Mrs. Hart. Who's Mrs. Hart? A normal, middle-aged citizen of Westview who's good at gardening. That'll pass for a nature witch. So let's run this down, because we have this very powerful incantation that they all need to sing. They need to use all their power in the world to open up the door to the Witch's Road. So we have one fully powered witch, the elderly one bound witch with no access to a power, the African-American one daughter of a witch with no clue about witchcraft, the Asian one normal everyday citizen who's not a witch at all and does not even know how to sing the song, Mrs. Hart, and Agatha, a witch who's lost her powers. But together they're going to be able to open a portal to another place in time and space? How does this make sense again? Without any power, they are going to cast a master incantation? I'm getting the power of one, the power of two, the power of many kind of vibes right now. So they sing and they sing and they sing, and as the singing goes on, a gathering of what can only be labeled as assassin witches try to invade Agatha's home. Like Rio, they want to kill Agatha, but the singing works, the door to the Witch's Road opens in the floor and the group enters, escaping certain death. And that's it, basically the first 2 episodes. Was it as bad as The Acolyte? No, it was not that bad, but it was close. It was boring. It was laborious to get through. It made absolutely no sense to anyone paying any kind of attention to logic, script cohesion, or common sense. If it was not for Catherine Hahn's acting chops, there would not be anything remotely interesting about this series, and this is the shame of the show. Instead of focusing on Agatha, a character we can get invested in, we surrounded her with characters that are not interesting, that we have no investment in, nor any incentive to be invested in, and the show is failed massively by the writing. It looks good, it is shot well, scenery, sets, all that, everything you would expect from a Disney and Marvel production, the entry-level basics, but the show is an empty box. It's a pretty box with nice wrapping and a couple of bows, but there's nothing inside the package. It's empty. If this is Disney's big Halloween series, then instead of a treat, we've all been tricked. There's still a handful of episodes left, so hopefully now that the characters are implanted into the world of Marvel's mysticism and on the witch's road, the show will find its footing, and only time will tell. But if these two first episodes are any indication of the rest, this is a series that was delayed, pushed back, and reshot, and now I can see why. It was a mess to begin with, and it's just less of a mess now that it has been released. And if you're an Agatha fan, sure, watch the show. If not, I don't think you'd be missing much, and I don't think there'll be very large implications on the entire MCU going forward. This is a part of the multiverse saga. You know, phases 4, 5, and 6. You know, the ones that Disney is desperately trying to put behind them as quickly as they possibly can. So, not only is this show bad, it's meaningless. And that's what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Did you watch the premiere? What did you think? Were you happy or disappointed? Also, if you want more movie reviews and commentary, click on the links in the description for my general movie review playlist and my retro movie review playlist. And if you are an Agatha Harkness fan, check out my recent video reviewing issue number 94 of the Fantastic Four and Agatha Harkness's first ever appearance in the comics. And if you like this video, we'd appreciate it if you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, and share it out. All that really helps us out at the channel each week. I thank you for watching. Remember, I'm still your reluctant gringo. And from south of the border, salute and al huevo.